happens. Otherwise,
Do you know a guy by the name of Steve Casey? He does special Olympics. He has 16 years. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
You're officially live on YouTube.
Yeah.
We're live.
You are you.
Okay. Very special.
All right, good afternoon. Let's call this meeting of city operations to order. Recognize that all committee members are present. And looking for a motion on the November 6th.
So,
Any discussion? Questions? All in favor of November 6th, please say aye.
aye.
All right, so public comment. I see you're most likely here for the CSO.
Yes, I am. And the question is, would you like me to do it during public comment, or would you like me to wait for the discussion?
Let's maybe wait since it looks like you're our only person to speak at,
Right now, yep.
and there might be some other people later. Thank you. Discussion action item B, a resolution for the appointment of Glenn Lopez for the first board member of the Human Relations and Community Services Advisory Board for a term to expire June 30th of 2025. Glenn, you want to come to the table or sit there? It's up to you. Come to the table. Introduce yourself, letting us know why you want to serve on this board.
My name is Glenn Deanna Lopez, born and raised in Lansing, grew up in the Lansing North Side. Mother and father were activists when they were young and alive. In the Great Boycott in the late 60s, middle 60s. My mother is elected into the Michigan Hall of Fame, which is over here in the house over there. She passed away recently. My whole family actually has been involved at one point or another in city activities in the 70s and 80s. I'm an old guy now, but I'm still active. I still keep going. I worked in the Lansing School District for 40 years in the special needs classrooms, and I retired from that. I still coach Special Olympic teams called Lansing Alumni. We're really busy. I'm busy with them. I just got done doing poly hockey. We're into basketball. I'm going to start basketball December 5th, and then we'll keep going. Whatever I can do to get the city of Lansing better, I will do. Again, I live on the north side of Cleveland, born and raised over there. I have seen the best of Lansing. I have seen in between, and I have seen the worst of Lansing. We have to pick it up, and these guys right here can do it. Right? So whatever I can do to help you guys, I will do.
Thank you for that introduction. And if there's any questions, I'll just open it first.
I guess for me, Glenn, I'm familiar with your work, and I certainly appreciate you. I just want, the only thing when I look at the application, the first choice before to serve on was the police commissioners, and there isn't anything else there. How did it come to be that you're being appointed to the Human Relations and Community Services?
I got a call from Lucy. She's a friend of mine for years. She knows what I do in the community. She thought and thinks that I would be a good addition to this board, perhaps any of the other boards. Okay, and I talked to her and she said, sure, why not? Why not give it a try? I was telling her that, so that's where I came from.
No, I think you're being asked that. I just wanted to make sure the desire was there. Okay.
Yeah, so I know Glenn very well. I've served on boards with him before, and he is everything that is good about the First Ward. Standout citizen, and to the question of the interest in that board, as I've seen what Glenn does in the last few years in our community, I actually had suggested to the mayor and to, I believe, Glenn, either this board or the DEI board, that they would be a good fit. And I'm glad to see your name on here. I'm very supportive and excited to see you serve in this capacity. And I think you will be a true asset to the HRCS advisory board.
I'm gonna pile on too. I know Glenn from when I was a little kid in Parks and Rec.
Yes.
Stuff you always do.
I don't do much at Parks, but I still work for them. I do the Tuesday bowling inclusion program for them at spare time.
So I think we're 3 for 3 out of committee members endorsements today. Any further discussion? All right, looking for a motion.
I would move the resolution.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. And on December 2nd at 7 o'clock, if you want, the full council will.
December 2nd. Yeah, I can do that. You're,
You can come in and swear to take the oath and get a nice picture, or if you don't come in and don't want to.
no, I would like to come in. I'd like to get to see who I am. And I appreciate you guys' efforts and letting me, give me the opportunity and chance to play a little bit of a role, but it's a role.
We'll see you December 2nd at 7 o'clock, right up here.
Thank you very much. I'll be in touch with you.
Take a look.
All right, moving straight.
Thank you very much.
To
I appreciate it.
letter C. Moving straight on to letter C, redevelopment liquor license for Handoff Hill Corporation, ABA, Nancy Duckman, 3224 East Michigan Avenue. Is there anybody here to speak on that? If you'd like to come to the table, introduce yourself, and tell me what your job is.
Here's handouts, if you guys would like to grab one. There's access for the other council board members as well. My name's Wesley Pandoff. I'm President and CFO of Lansing Duckpin. So what's in here is our business plan that we typed up for the bank and everything. But a lot of people do not understand what duckpin is. So it's a 16-foot lane, no oil, no conditioning of the lane. Any age can do it. My son was 1. We would go to Grand Rapids.
I'm sorry, I missed this key word. Say it again.
Duckpin bowling. So it's a 16-foot bowling lane with no oil, no conditioning for the lanes or anything. The pins are on strings. It's about a skee ball sized ball that you can throw down the lane. Any age can do it. My son at the time, when he was 1, my other son was 3. We would go to Grand Rapids, which is 71 miles away, to do it. Rob and I lived down in Columbus, Ohio, where it was very popular, and we would go on a weekly basis. We lived down there for 4 years. Woodrow lanes in Grand Rapids is only 7 lanes. Ours is going to be 9 lanes, and they're Brunswick's one of their most profitable businesses for them. They only do liquor as well, and no food is what we're trying to do as well. And we feel as the page that's not part of the business plan, that is the social district that is started in June of 23 in Frandor. As you can see, there's a bunch of shopping, dining, but there's no entertainment for anybody. So you're literally going there for grocery shopping or shoes or eating. There's nothing to keep them in Frandor for a couple hours. That area where we're at, where Tropical Smoothie, pizza place, and Dunkin' Cookies is opening, we're right next door to them. This will keep the social district with Frandor being built up now, especially with it. Hopefully the project in Sears old building gets going in a couple years from now. We could be a big aspect, big client for the city of Lansing, keep them in the city rather than going out to DeWitt or Haslam.
Thank you. I'm trying to picture that address. Is there a Red Cedar project?
Yep. So it's Red Cedar project.
So you're
Right on the
west of Tropical.
Yep. So right at the edge, right where that bus stop is our square footage, 5,300 square foot. There is some noise, but we are on our own insulating the roof for the students above us, as well as the side where Dunk Cookies is. So there's not going to be any noise violations or upset students studying for midterms or anything, or tenants. There is as well as a hotel there, but there's no entertainment for those hotel guests besides MSU campus.
You might find that noise barrier is for you guys and not the students.
Right.
That's the first thing that came through my mind. I don't have any questions. I did a deep dive on this earlier in the week. Everything seems to be in order, and I'm excited to actually bowl good. Maybe.
What about the menu? Do you have a kitchen, or is it just?
There's not any food. There's just going to be drinks as well as 9 lanes, and there's going to be an event area parties, and then they get reserved the lanes to the right of that as well. So.
As a person who frequents that tropical smoothie and knows that parking is sometimes tough,
Yep.
where are people to park?
So the hotel has that big area that is you have to pay. Yep. But then there's a bunch of parking around it. We're gonna advertise for us and Bag of Nails restaurant as well.
And this is obviously a new spot for liquor.
Yep. And as part of the redevelopment area of Red Cedar.
Right. We're looking for all those in favor of moving the redevelopment area liquor license to go to the full council vote, say
Aye.
that's
December 2nd.
Yep.
Probably assistant will be there.
Yep.
And if this is not on the consent agenda, we talked about if it is, voting on it early. All right. Thank you.
Yep. Appreciate it.
Moving on down to discussion item D, West Side CSO work. Do we have anybody from, well, I guess, I know we have people from the public. And Amy's right here, so maybe we could start with public comment on this. You're welcome to take a few minutes and share your concerns.
Thank you. First, I really want to thank Councilperson Ryan Koss for helping me facilitate this. You, Andy, and Cole, and I, and many of our neighbors have seen each other, and we've been before council for more times than I care to think about in the last 2 years.
I'm sorry.
Deborah Mulcahy, Mulcahy. And the reason that we've been before you for the last 2 years is a lot of history. First, we had the issue of the removal of our islands and trees in our neighborhood. Then we had good old consumers come and work through and devastate whatever they could. Then we had the city of Lansing, in conjunction with MDOT, it was MDOT's decision to remove our traffic signal at West Saginaw and Jensen. Thank you, it's back. Then we had the ongoing CSO work on MLK and the east side MLK, and then we had the removal of the MLK boulevards, and then we had AT&T go through and destroy whatever they could destroy, and so we've been in chaos. And we had been told that by the city of Lansing in communication, that in the west side, there would be construction work west of MLK to Carey Street on West Shiawassee. That was going to happen into the winter. And we're all geared up for that. And then a letter went out to residents dated October 4th. And again, this is a bone of contention. The city only sends it to occupant. Occupant mail doesn't get forwarded. Occupant mail doesn't go to the property owner. A lot of rentals. Occupant mail gets left who knows where. And we've had discussions, Andy and Cole and I, in reference to cost of mailing and mailing and notices. So upon that notice, neighbors of mine made contact with the city, particularly Mark Jones, and says, you guys have to have a meeting with us. This is early October. We need a meeting. And a meeting wasn't forthcoming. I was back in town in early November, and I facilitated discussions with Nicole, and I said, you gotta have a meeting. There is a meeting tonight at 5 o'clock, 5 to 7. And the reason that we pushed for a meeting is the city of Lansing was not doing what they said they were gonna do. The letter said they were doing more, and that would be okay. Except we've never had a hearing, we've never had a discussion. The noise ordinance waiver that the city council granted that expires December 14th was for project A, B, and C. They added X, Y, and Z. What did they add? Tree removal. Tree removal to the west side. How many times have we talked about trees? And what's happened here is contrary to Hollister's posturing in the 90s with the reports that came out in reference to how we address trees is, and I love them dearly, Dominic and Irene from Forestry, but I feel like it's the fox guarding the henhouse. They went through, particularly Irene, who is city staff, and I don't know if it was Mark Jones, I don't know who in particular was from engineering, and the Levitt contractor. And the Levitt contractor says, these are problem trees, these have to be trimmed, whatever. So now we're having trees trimmed 30 feet instead of 20 feet, and we have so many trees removed that were not on any plans to be removed. I'm like, what the hey? People are not pleased. So there is a meeting tonight in reference to this, and I want you to know that's why people are so PO'd. Not only do we have these trees removed and trimming, but now, contrary to what Mr. Pefley said at Tuesday's Charter Commission meeting, now our water is not necessarily safe to drink. The inside of my toilet tanks, which are insulated, are destroyed forever. They're rust. Why were those water systems not flushed before they were reconnected with us? What did they do? I have neighbors that actually have filters on their homes, which I never thought of using, a filter on my municipal water supply, where their filters are caked with rust. That's just one issue, the traffic. We need LPD to be a lot more assertive in reference to traffic control. We need to know who's guarding the henhouse, not only forestry looking at the trees. I think we needed somebody independent, but I observed a situation that was so egregiously unsafe that I spoke with the contractor who was sitting there, windshield view of the situation, which was a woman, turned out to be a woman, I didn't know who it was, with a hard hat, standing under a bucket tree with the tree branches coming down as the guy chopped it with a chainsaw. And I said to the person who was from Fishback, excuse me, do you not see this? There's no cones, this is a dangerous situation. And his response to me, he is the city's contractor that oversees this project, so I was told, was, oh, that's a city contractor. I said, I don't care whose contractor it is, would you please call Mark Jones and let him know? I should have just said, screw it all, called my ocean. Because this is serious, and it's continued to have no cones. I gotta commend our Water Run Life, and they get out of a truck, they stick their cone out there, they know. These contractors, if they want to kill themselves, I'm kind of past that in my life. But I don't want to see my neighbors get hurt. I don't want to get hurt, and I don't want to see anybody else really get hurt. I don't want to see that. So that needs to be addressed. Who is seeing what is being done? And as far as our meeting going forward, Mr. Jones said that we didn't need one because we've had two before. We've never, ever had a meeting in the West Side in regard to construction activities. It's not happened. And it's not happened because they weren't doing anything in our area. And the city was a little confused as to when should they have a meeting with the neighbors because they normally don't have construction in the dead of winter. I get that. So have it sooner than later. I learned that the city learned that they were going to be able to proceed the end of summer. So why wait until October to tell us? Now, the reason about the trees is this is a note from Mark Jones. There were more trees marked for removal than were originally on the plans. And one more thing I'd like to add. That's why we didn't know those trees were coming down, because they weren't on the plans. That was part of the whole thing. And what this project is designed for appears to us, we definitely want the CSO to be done. That's not a question, okay? Everybody needs to understand that. But this CSO project appears to us to be using equipment that is not a real word, gigantic in nature, for a project that might benefit from smaller equipment. So that, I say, is kind of an ass-backwards approach to how we do the project. I want to see better communication. I want to see a way to do better communication. I want to see that people understand the ramifications. We've been through this for 2 years. So I ask, has anybody not heard trees? So I'm here for city operations because you deal with police, you deal with Board of Water and Light, and you deal with public service.
I don't mean to cut you short, but I know that the city staff is leaving at 4:30, and just to be able to have them speak, you know, which is
We're going to the same meeting,
I
for
know
sure.
everybody is.
And I can leave at 5:02 and be at the left on my bicycle.
Yeah. I'm just.
No, I know.
So, is there other public comment, or do we want to hear from the city on some of these?
I guess I could just say, my name is Sheila Zeras, N-T-R-E-R-S. I guess just following up with what my neighbor said, I think we're concerned about whether there's going to be less oversight on site, where it's not clear who's in charge and decisions being made on the spot, things being done which may actually be unnecessary or not even parts of plans, it's just because there's really difficult to find out who's in charge. Why, we're seeing these massive pieces of machinery on our tiny little neighborhood streets, like the machinery of the size that would work on an interstate going down our little winding residential streets. And so the trees coming down to make way for the machinery, kind of making the neighborhood fit the machines instead of the machines fit the neighborhood. And so we're losing canopy cover that these machines, it just doesn't make sense. It will take decades to replace a canopy cover that's been lost under programs. Just like, and I mean, while I recognize, I don't know, all I'm saying is that I know these are hard decisions, and I know that, I don't know. I just think that what seems to be lost here is the recognition that all of these decisions, if it's considered done, have real effects on real people trying to live their lives, trying to live their lives in these ways of danger on our streets now because of the traffic. Kids don't even play outside on Michigan anymore, and the traffic is so fast. Our lives really need change, and it's like nobody's thinking about the human effects of these kind of civil engineering, public service decisions. So, and I just remind everybody about the statistics. Virgins of like low canopy cover, the lack of green space, and race and poverty. I just keep trying to tell everybody who will listen. There are people involved. Our lives are being changed. It is affecting us daily. We're just trying to protect the quality of life that is being changed by decisions that we're making, and we're careful about.
Thank you. While we have the city here, can you reply, especially some of that canopy stuff, but anything that you can for us and everybody that's watching at home?
As far as trees, I'm only aware of two additional trees that are taken down. I said, I'm only aware of 2 additional trees. Were taken down because when our forester went through, they said they were dead in the middle. So they recommended closely with our forester, and we assume that they are the experts on city trees. We're going to end up adding a third party to the assessment of the city. It's a policy decision. As far as the equipment, we do not dictate to the contractor the size of the equipment that they use. Some of the reason here is these sewers are very deep, so we have to have large equipment to get down to those sewers. So we always do a walkthrough with the contractor before construction started to look at what the impact would be and what might need to be trimmed. And this neighborhood almost is unique because the streets are narrower. That means the trees are closer to the sewers and they have deep sewers. So there probably are more impacts to city trees in this neighborhood than some of the others. We've been to the city. As far as communication, it would be something that years ago, we probably would have mailed everything in the newspaper, or people see it on TV, and it's difficult now. So we're looking at options to get, and especially people who don't use social media, don't look at the city's website, to mail maybe selectively, or maybe have something out on site. We got an update or a community center or something like that. So that is something, regardless of this project, I think the city needs to look at because communications have changed over the years and are not getting the communication the way we're usually putting it out. There should be other ways that we can get that out. So we're open to kind of suggestions on that. Water, that's, I mean, our contract with water service, or water light, that's inspectors out there. They're the ones that are looking at that. Or water gets reconnected and turned on, so that would be really a question for them. They've not indicated to us that the water is unsafe, but anytime pipes are flushed, it's some sediment through there, I think that would be a really question for them. That would be have people talk about that. Traffic is something that's a whole different story. We'll work with LPD for traffic issues. It's difficult traffic study in an area with construction, but we can look at speeding issues. As far as traffic calming, that's not something we believe you can look at speeds and volumes while those impacts construction. So that would be something that we will look at this neighborhood that wants it. However, we have a bunch of other streets and neighborhoods in the area that actually had traffic calming approved years ago that have not been implemented. So I think priority-wise, we would go back and look at this neighborhood versus other areas of the city to determine where those funds should be spent on traffic issues.
Thank you. I know that MLK just opened up also. And according to the lease, our clerk cleared up some of that. Jensen. Is there anybody else from the city that has anything to add to this or less discussion? Andy, so is it true that they are cutting trees to actually fit machinery in, or is it some other reason?
So I don't know specifically the ones that are cutting down. There are trees that are in conflict with the sewer, and then there were others that we identified as diseased and dying. As far as trimming for equipment,
Yeah. In the initial walkthrough that we do with the contractor before construction starts, we would be looking at trees that would need to be trimmed because of, when the excavator comes up and pulls up and we're going 20 feet down, you gotta go, at least 20 feet up, make sure that they're not gonna catch any limbs on the way down. So we'd be trimming for the equipment. The removal is due to the proximity of that tree to the sewer trench, or if any other trees were identified by forestry as being diseased that need to be taken down because it can cause a safety risk for the contractors.
And did forestry and everything walk with you?
Yes, not me personally, but with staff and the contractor and most likely Commissioner, our engineering. So yes, Irene and Dominic were there very close.
There are other trees that they, let's say, didn't move, didn't anticipate or contemplate that way?
They identified a few more trees that were taken out that weren't on the original plans due to disease or unhealthiness for that and in proximity to where our sewers were.
So did the proximity to the sewers, because you can see those trees walk the first time. I guess why would additional trees be taken down because of proximity to the sewers?
That was due to the health. Like initially it was, the tree was, I don't know specifically, and I don't want to talk for our forestry in specific, but from what I have gathered, it was, okay, they thought this tree would be fine with the location of the sewer didn't change, with the location of the sewer. When they looked at it again, they found something else, or considered that tree to be in less health than they thought it was originally.
Would Irene or Dominic have been that walk through that that second evaluation.
Yes.
And last one, do you know how many trees were taken based on that second evaluation?
I, not off the top of my head, but I can get that information for you.
Numbers. I guess the first question is part of the restoration process. Are we looking at planning of additional
The minimum 1-to-1.
1-to-1?
At a minimum. We can go more than that, but some of it, we need to make sure that any tree that we put in don't cause other issues, lines, sewers, and we're not putting, one right next to each other. So yeah, we will, somewhere between 1-to-1 and 1.5-to-1, somewhere there, where we can actually fit the trees in the area.
How does the timeline lay out for the rest of the project?
So it is a 4-year project. It was originally, it was 3 years. The reason the contractor is wanting to work through the winter, which is what they did last winter, is that they were behind the initial schedule. And so they want to try and get it done on time. So we won't really know until maybe after next year what 2026 might look like, what is remaining. I think it's kind of west of Jenison. Just looked at 2026, so we'll see how the season goes. I don't believe they have a request or intention to work outside of normal working hours.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. So in terms of the work through winter, there's nothing, everything from boards assessment, noise ordinance, or anything.
Correct. At the moment, I can't say that they're not going to ask for something, but I would not anticipate that. I really don't think they want to be working during the winter. And depending on what the season looks like, if we have a really hard winter, we might not be able to continue. Last year was fairly mild. This year, I'm expecting it's a little warmer, wetter than normal, so we'll see how that is. One thing to point out, while they work during winter, if they have a street in Milton, they are responsible for snow removal and maintaining that. The city is not involved in construction project, which is what they did on the east end of last year.
And then with regard to communication, I guess my question is it a monetary decision? Is it, because it's a policy decision in terms of what we're setting this to, is there a reason we're not setting it to the taxpayer?
I think we can send to both. I mean, the issue that we're coming up with is the live access feature that we have in BSNA is not up to date. So it's a year plus old in some cases. So the only way we can get that is actually go to the assessor's office. They have to check by parcel to see if something is sold. So we're basically in a block of area we can send to, based on the information that's paid, basically what we have to do. If we want it for it, we have to have the property owner's name. We can't just say property. Occupant, resident. If we want it just to stay at that address, then I can say resident/occupant. As far as wording, actually it has to have a property name on it. So we would have to have the correct name, otherwise that's not necessarily get to. It's basically a data issue without access. And I wish we could have live data from the county that is up to date, but the way we are pulling it, it is not. It is.
Well, thank you. We'll.
Yeah, would it make a difference to send it, Ryan Coster, current occupant? I get some of
I
that.
don't know with that, how that works. I mean, yes, it would get, but I mean, the question was forwarded, and I'm not sure that doesn't have the correct name on it. Or you put the address, you put in to the post office, forward it, normally put, which names on there you want to put in. I'm not sure how that works.
And I don't know, but maybe EEP could provide, if you had an area, could provide you with up-to-date information.
I would think they're pulling the same information we are. I don't know. There's some BSNA for tax records we have.
And then the last thing I heard Michigan Avenue specifically about the speeding there. I think there was a traffic study done this summer.
We pulled counts.
Yeah.
But Michigan Avenue being a major street, designated major street, some section of that normally not do traffic calming on major streets. If it's a primary or secondary fire route, we don't look at the vertical measures. So that'd be something we would have to check. So speed humps, some other measures. But from a cost effectiveness standpoint, speed humps aren't the most cost effective. The islands or bump outs and everything else, they're much more expensive, and they basically, a lot of times they'll impact drainage. We don't see the same, even though cost effectiveness, because if you're able to go straight down the middle of the road, you'll still go pretty fast or speed humps. If you have to go over the slow down, or just speed.
Yeah, I know I've been there, done that. We added more signs too, correct?
We did have some of those, and we had some cross street traffic that's not stop.
Okay.
It's always stop. It's one thing.
And I completely agree with, you know, Deb's assessment. That neighborhood was crazy this summer. I cut through there many times, and there's, you know, people are learning routes and trying to get around. So traffic was
on the east side too, when you have
Yeah.
this major street closed, no matter what the detour is, people will find whatever the way they want to go through there. So unless we could have cut off the neighborhood from essentially at Michigan, so no traffic would come through there. But unless you cut off Berlinden, you're still going to find whatever way they think is best and most convenient. Unfortunately, it is out there, but they can only be out there so much.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Some of that did listen up with MLK now open, but just to respect the city's time, I might want to get a snack.
We're just going over what you set up before.
I guys got talking points too, but thank you for coming. And we still have some business to do here.
Do you want additional for the feedback of what you heard here? Because the information to give you accurate information about the trees.
Well, I think we had information for today, and the meeting is going to be continued. I'll be happy to take any information. But we do have more agenda to do, and the follow-up meeting, the city also has to wait.
I know, and I'm very aware of the follow-up meeting at 5 o'clock, and I will be there as well. But I wanted to share about the trees because I have been involved with the trees from ground zero. Yes. And as Nicole shared, following up with what Sheila said about the equipment, I can give you an example of two particular trees at 1311 North Genesee. They were two old English oak trees. And Irene met me out there with my husband, and she said she wanted those trees to go. I said, tell me why. What's wrong with these trees? Well, they're not native. They've been in America since the 1600s. Hello. That's not a reason to get rid of trees. They don't have a great leaf. One did, one didn't. That's the center of the tree. They don't have good flare. And why don't trees have good flare at the base anymore? Because people put sod and grass and they go right to them. I said, it's not a reason for those trees. Well, they're acceptable to a bug. Well, I got a purple ash. It's acceptable to a bug in my front yard, my tree. You don't take a tree down because you don't want to maintain it. And that's what happened with those two trees in particular, because the city was having to trim them every 4 years. Now, if I have a broken arm or I have cancer, you don't take me off the face of the earth. And that's what happened with those two particular trees. And I was beginning to think I was losing my mind, my memory, in reference to how many more trees came down. There were many more than 2 trees that were taken down that were not on those plans, for clarification. And communication, I and other citizens should not be telling the city, hello, you need to have a meeting. We need to know, how does our garbage get picked up? Where do we park? What do we do? No communication.
Just to go on that, we weren't planning to have a meeting. It was just going to be in December, and we opened it up because we had started the trip trees based on the comments from that was
Thank you. On to letter E, resolution claim appeal number 2086, or C, DDM Corporation 5910 South Pennsylvania, $629. Okay, let's see what there's here remotely. Thank you. One moment while we transition. Okay, person that's appearing remotely, can you please state your name for the record and basically tell the committee what you want us to know about this matter?
My name is Harry Keefe, and I've been the owner of that property for over 40 years, 5910 South Pennsylvania.
What's your issues with the?
Well, our property backs up to an apartment complex. And for 40 years, they've been throwing their garbage over the fence. And it's been, I've called the police. We've went to the apartment complex. We've moved our dumpster from one end of the parking lot to the other. I realize that it's not the city's, but this in particular instance, the manager noticed that there was a couch in that. And he threw it back over the fence to the apartment. I mean, we don't have a couch. I don't have TVs and chairs. That's what they're throwing over the fence. And for some reason, somebody threw it back over the fence. And the city came out and said they mailed a notice, of which I never got. I know that's obviously not an excuse, but they know where to send the taxes. I get my tax bill every year. So here we are. They charged me $629. You know, I don't expect the city to bear the total cost, but $629 is a little bit outrageous. It's not something that I did that was, I didn't neglect. So I'm looking for a little relief. I mean, maybe we can split the bill and be done with this. But $629 to remove a couch is outrageous.
Understood. First of all, the city will talk, but I do know that there's an administration fee that's like $265 that goes period for having to do all the things. So that's set, and then there's like a minimum load that people charge per yard. So that's probably what it is, but I'm gonna toss it up to maybe the city.
Yeah, that's fine. I can provide some clarity as far as the cost. So yeah, you're correct. 265 was the admin fee. For 64 was the total.
Is that just one load worth or?
Yeah, I don't have quotes from the contractor, but fortunately, let me try to do this. Oh, so it's got to be close. You. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Claims review, do you have any comments about the process or anything to add?
It's just, you know, I don't know what more the city can do. The couch was on the property. It had been tagged, notified, and it was there again to pick it up. So,
Well, that's the issue here. I didn't get notified, and my problem with it is they've been sending the taxes every year. I get those. If they notify it and put it in the mailbox or send it to that address, that's a tenant in there. They're not going to do anything about it. You want the property owner to be responsible. You have to notify him. And that would be my next question is, how do we avoid this in the future? To make sure that they have, we operate 20 separate properties, one being in Lansing. We operate them out of a main office here in Richmond. As long as we're notified properly, we're good property owners, we do the right thing.
Thank you. Question for the city. Can we make it where we do actually send notice to both the residents and the property owner, or didn't we did
Send it to the taxpayer record as well as the
Okay, so sir, there's our city saying that the notice was mailed to your Northville and both. So you might have missed it. That's what they're saying.
I get it. You know, this isn't the case, you know, the major case of the day. I get it. But I got the bill for $635 to my residents. But, I'm just looking for a little relief. See what you can do.
I'm gonna make a motion for release to this committee and we'll vote on it and see what happens. All those, I would like to make a motion to split the bill.
Councilman Jackson, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to reduce it to $300 total.
On what basis?
Because he came here and he's appealing the total cost. It does seem like a lot for a couch. And he wanted to see if we can get some relief, so I'm gonna make a motion to continue for it.
Motion on the floor for discussion. Being hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Aye.
Opposed.
All right. Looking for a motion on the resolution.
Hi, thanks. Nick, I have in these records, one says Crutcher was the contractor. The other one says it was Eric's from an invoice. Who did it?
Email was sent out.
I don't see the picture, I see the areas.
It's downstairs.
Yep.
I guess repairs, I'm not sure how, so noted.
Sure.
The local contact.
And where's the photos from February 2nd in this package showing this furniture? I only have February 12th. And February 14th?
That's all I'm seeing, plans packet, compliance, and vendor photos.
There was both. There was,
Four photos.
yeah, there was before photos from February 12th, which is past the deadline
So your question is, where's the photos from the office?
from the violation on 2/2.
Packet, packet, right now, it seems like
Sometimes if we have ones that look similar to each other and duplicates, we will reduce it so we don't have 15, 20, 30 pictures as opposed, so I'm checking these fees right now. There's a black and white photo on February 12th.
Yep.
Looking for what date?
The 2nd.
I do not have one for that.
With that in front of us, I would feel comfortable saying that this was done sloppy and grant the administrative fee back. The city didn't pay a fee to Eric's, whoever, to remove this, but I think it would be fair to give back the administrative fee with this of $265 with what we have in this packet. And I would urge EDP to make sure that these are getting a little bit clean.
I can support that, but here, you can hear me. I'm also going to say that I think you got lucky, frankly, because I do believe that it was there. I think it was there for a substantial amount of time. I think that we had to go out, we had to abate this. I think it's taxpayers incurred costs. I think this took our staff off of other jobs that are probably much more critical than this. Beyond that, frankly, Mr. Harry, I had to pull up the property. I didn't even know what property this was. I found out it was in fact centerfolds. I have a hard time believing there's no couches in centerfolds. But that being said, the parking lot is a disaster. That frankly is
Been replaced. It's been replaced.
And the apron's been replaced too from the road?
I've replaced it, resurfaced it. We spent over $100,000 to replace it.
Great. And I certainly appreciate that. But the other thing is, there's two other things, right? So if you have a 40-year issue with the apartment going behind, I would encourage you, I did see the fencing that you put in. You might want to look at a higher fence that still meets code. You might want to look at a different type of fence. You might want to look at cameras, because you might have a civil issue, I think, between.
We have cameras now. We have cameras installed for this very reason. And this is probably the 5th fence we put in there. They keep
And the other
cutting.
thing I was, right, but I think more than anything, you probably have a civil issue between yourself and the property owner behind you. The other piece is that, and I don't want my lawyers to pick me here, but truly, I do. The other thing is, I don't know how the lease is drafted, but if I get what you're saying, that if we did notice this correctly, but when we send the occupant, that's not necessarily getting back to you, but I would assume that there's some responsibility for site maintenance, just general upkeep that's baked into that lease. So again, I think.
I acknowledge that. You're 100% right.
Can I just add one thing briefly? Harry, what I would suggest to you, because Councilman Hussein is correct that this is very rare, is whoever is in that spot currently leasing it from you, I would have a phone call with them to make sure that their property is clean, because some city council members may have come and visited it. Did you hear that?
Noted.
Okay, perfect.
We're all on the same page.
Auditor, does that sound right? 629 subtract 265, I think that's right.
300 off of 629.
260.
Yeah, that sounds right. It's part of the committee, though. I'm not sure
Are you saying way the end? Sorry.
Yes.
That's what, so that it'd be 364. Yeah, 364.
All right, looking for a motion.
What's that total?
$364, sir.
No problem. I appreciate it. Are we done?
If you don't appreciate it yet, I would make a motion to change the total to $364, reflecting a relief of $265 for the admin fees.
Reflecting a total of,
$364.
all right.
Yeah.
So moved. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes. All right, sir, this will be up for the entire council to either support or reject or change on Monday, December 2nd. You're welcome to appear. You're welcome to stay. You're welcome to come remotely. Most of the time, they follow what happens in this committee, but you're also welcome to make a comment.
I'm good. I understand. So will they send me a revised bill, or can I just put a check in the mail for $364?
That's a question I can't answer. You might just want to contact the treasurer's department or something.
Once this goes through, I usually send out a letter. So that reflects what the final is, and then they still have to contact the treasurer.
Yeah.
Would you make sure that it comes to the Detroit address, please?
Yes, I will.
So that the girls can send a check right out. Thank you.
All right. Moving right along to resolution F. Introduction and setting a public hearing, chapter 26, preference for bidders. Who's here to speak on that? Look like anybody. Faith?
Not me.
You know real estate.
So I actually asked OCA to put this together. What this does, Chairman, didn't mean to interrupt you. So essentially, we had bidders come down to council, if you recall, and talk about the fact that an outside firm got this contract, but he uses local subcontractors, that other group, and they did not get it or have a chance to come back because they weren't considered local because technically they're out of Flint, but they use subcontractors here in Lansing. So what this does, what the changes are in our local preference, would lift that $1 million cap first off. So if anyone that's local wants to match what someone else is offering, they can. Even the big contracts. The other thing it does is it also includes that language of using subcontractors from Lansing. So if they might be at a Grand Rapids, Flint, or somewhere else, but if they're using workers that are here in Lansing, they would be considered Lansing-based, and then would have this chance to match the lowest bid.
Question. How would anybody know if an outside contractor subcontracts, which I'm sure is going to be the same project, subcontractor, whatever they want, and they probably wouldn't even do that after